I'll tell you, we have 1,000,001 things going on this week, next week, and for the rest of the year, it seems. You know, this capital campaign has definitely taken a strong move forward. And I don't know, I think of that verse in the scriptures that said it was the fullness of time. And for us, it is the fullness of time at this time. And I say that because of people who have come to us new to the community. The first surge, when we first attempted this some decade ago or so, it was a surge, but then it slowed down, and now another surge is happening because it's the fullness of time now. And because of people like the one who I'm going to ask to say a few words today, Manny, Economedes, a very animated, a very enthusiastic young man. And, you know, Manny, are you here, first of all? There he is, okay. You know, I'll tell you, when we had house gatherings to talk about this with the neighborhoods and everything, and people just came to different houses, and you're open to have your own open house, and you can invite me or Manny, whoever you want. We can come to your home with a group of friends, and we can discuss this thing. But for the first 4 or 5 that I attended, the very first thing everyone said, the host of that house said, look, we're not asking for money, but we just want to explain this. The very first thing Manny said at his house was, does anybody have $10 million? That's the kind of guy Manny is.
Well, the one thing Father said that isn't quite true, I'm not young anymore. But when I was growing up, my dad always told me that if you see somebody on the street, even if you don't know him, you should always say good morning. And for those of you who understand Greek, it's called an ευχή από το Θεό, which means a blessing from the Lord. So, good morning to all of you. Good morning, Reverend Fathers. Thank you for having me here to speak. And did everyone get a parishioner's packet, one of these? Okay. I'm going to ask you to take it out. Today, what I'm going to try to do is to bring clarity and vision to our quest for a new sanctuary and family life center. But speaking of vision, I want the entire parish to look at kind of the back set of those windows on the left, on that side of the church, on your right, my left. And if you look there and you see those trees beyond the current structures, that's about where the new church is going to be, okay? Now, to get an even better picture of that, there is a site plan that's going to be posted. It's at the ministry table for the campaign, capital campaign, with an X marks the spot or a big red cross. You are here, and you will be able to stand in front of what used to be the bamboo forest at the end of our parking lot on that side of our church, and you will be able to literally visualize where the Family Life Center and the church are going to be positioned. And it gives you a clear visual as to what we're about to do. I call our capital campaign a quest because it is basically 2 teams moving forward in tandem. You have the capital campaign, which is, its main function is raising the funds, and you have the building committee on the other side, and its tasked with the building project itself. The building committee has embarked in starting to put together all the engineering and paperwork that's required by the city. We'll talk about that a little bit more soon. But please note that everything we are working on at this point in time includes both the new sanctuary and the Family Life Center. So getting back to clarity for a minute, I want to emphasize 3 things. First, realize a project of this magnitude is dynamic. It's almost like the decision that you make today ripples. It can cause a lot of other decisions to change or be made as you move forward. So many times there's a question that you all have that can't be answered because we haven't reached that point in the process. I'll give you an example. Are we going to get this is something that's come up from time to time. Are we going to get a mortgage or are we going to not get a mortgage for the new church, Sanctuary Family Life Center? Well, the answer to that question, it's not even a question at this point in time because we aren't at that point in the process where we have to make that decision. So it's not worth your time and effort to worry about those kinds of things because we haven't gotten to that point and there is no answer. I can't answer that question at this point in time, and neither can anybody else on the capital campaign or the building committee. But if you do have a question, even if it's whether we're going to have a mortgage or not, or something that you think is important to you, please bring it to us, because we don't want those questions to fester in the community. The festering questions will only cause discord, will only lead to discord and division, and it will distract us from our principal goal of getting the new sanctuary and the Family Life Center built. And if you do come to us with a question, I can assure you that, one, we'll answer the question. And if we can't answer the question, we'll get you the answer to the question. Two, the answer you get may not be the answer you like. And that is the way it goes sometimes. As they say, it is what it is. While the truth sometimes is painful, it's the foundation upon which trust is built. So therefore, there is no reason not to be true. So let's talk about some of the questions that are floating around in the community right now. Does anybody in this community know why the yellow ribbons are on the trees? Any guesses? Pardon me? I can't hear you. No. It's not the ones they're saving. It's not the ones they're cutting down. It is simply an inventory of the trees that are on our site. That's all it is. The yellow ribbons mean absolutely nothing in terms of the disposition of that tree, wherever that tree is and wherever the yellow ribbon is. It just means that it's been inventoried. A tree conservation plan is going to come at close to the end of the process, where we will have a tree conservation plan to save trees and to save a certain number of the green that's on our site right now. Another one that comes up is, one of my favorites is, are we building a complete church? What is a complete church? Is this a complete church? There's no dome, there's no solea. What defines a complete church? What defines a complete church is you. You are the church. The church is physical, yes, it's a physical building, but you are the definition of a complete church. And to allay any fears, the church, the new church, is going to be a complete church at $7 million. That will build a complete church. You'll have pews, you'll have lights, you'll have windows, you'll have iconostasi. You will have a complete church, and you'll have a solea, by the way, okay? Here's another one. Does anybody know what we're going to do with the oak tree? Any guesses?
We're going to cut it down.
Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're probably going to cut it down. Nobody wants to cut it down. It's a beautiful tree. I love trees. I love history. But it's probably going to take another, it's going to, as somebody once told me when they told me I needed to find another career, it's going to find another career. Now what we're going to try to do, one of the ideas has been floated in the committee, we're going to try to save the oak tree and make it into something at Carolina Reclaim so that it is in our new church as the oak tree. Now that's pretty cool, I think. Don't you guys think that? Okay. Money flow. Greeks are famous for never trusting money flow. Money's going here, money's going there, nobody knows where the money's going. If you make a pledge and you send it in, it's going to Amalia, who tallies it, and Father. Those are the only people who see it, okay? Nobody else on the committee sees what you pledged. That money is then sent to Wells Fargo for the check to, if money comes in with it, with the pledge, that money goes to Wells Fargo, and from Wells Fargo, it goes to the Edward Jones account, and a portion of it is retained in Wells Fargo for expenses of the capital campaign or the building project, mostly the building project, like the civil engineer that we've hired, the architect that we've hired. Those are the expenses that I'm talking about, but that money is going towards that. So some money is kept in Wells Fargo, but the bigger bulk of it is going into Edward Jones, and I'll tell you about what Edward Jones is doing in a minute. Chandeliers. Everybody's wondering where the chandeliers are going to go. I honestly don't know where they're going to go, but they aren't going to go because both the building committee and the capital campaign is intent on preserving the historical artifacts of this community. So therefore, we will attempt and probably will find a place for things like that, like the chandeliers, like the bell that's out there that I see when I walk into the narthex. There's a lot of things like that here that we're going to try to preserve because we're sensitive to the past. So, and when I'm talking about clarity, notice I didn't use the word transparent, or I'm going to be honest with you. You want to know why? Because if I have to tell you that I'm going to be honest with you or that I'm being transparent, I haven't succeeded in being transparent and honest with you. I want you to feel that we're being transparent and not have to explain it to you that we're being transparent. So right now, what we want to do is we want to focus all our energy, all our efforts, all our time to making a sacrifice, submitting a pledge, and getting everyone you know to pledge. And a pledge is $1. That's a pledge. So everybody's got $1 in their pocket in this hall, so everybody should be giving a pledge right now as we speak. If we do that, we will succeed in bringing this parish the long-sought sanctuary and family life center. But always remember what Winston Churchill said. We make a living by what we get. We make a life by what we give. So, that takes care of clarity. Now, for vision. In this packet you got, if you flip it open, you'll see a table with numbers on it. The numbers are the financial status of the capital campaign at this point in time. And you will see that everybody's questioning the cash number. There's $4,938,067 in cash that we have with Edward Jones in Wells Fargo. We currently have pledges of $1,933,025, of which we've collected $456,799. So there's $1,476,226 outstanding pledges. So now the big question is, how are we sure we're going to get those outstanding pledges? Well, historically, you people, not me, I wasn't here, you people have met over 90% of the pledges that you made back in 2010 have been fulfilled. So when I'm seeing 1,476,226, the only history I have is you all came through and did exactly what you said you were going to do, and you gave the money that you pledged. So I have no fear that that 1 million, that whatever is pledged, we're going to get that money in the time frame that you committed. We ended up with, at the end of August, with $6,414,000 in the bank. That means that we are 38% of the way to our goal of 17 million. 17 million builds you a church, a life center, and the site work. And that number has been talked about for a long time. So, I'm going to make a projection right now because of some things that I'm very sure of, just like they do on a Tuesday in November most of the time on TV. You know, we're going to make a projection now on Pennsylvania, how it's going to vote, or how North Carolina is going to vote, who they're going to be for president or whatever. I'm making a projection right now, and you can take it to the bank. By the end of October, we'll be over 7 million. By the end of October, we'll be over 7 million. Keep that in your mind. I hope, I think, and I will put all I can into it, that by the Christmas time, we'll be at 10 million. That's the goal. If you want to really get this thing moving, we got to be at 10 million by Christmas time. Like Father said, I don't futz around when it comes to talking about the money. So the collection flow has, I've explained that, okay. Edward Jones account. Right now, the Edward Jones account is earning 5%, which is pretty good in this marketplace. So the money that you're pledging is making money. In fact, we have earned close to $100,000 on that Edward Jones account in 2023 alone. So the more you give, the more we put in there, the more it's going to grow. So you'll have a growth, a hidden growth of the fund, even without you guys giving more money, because it's growing at about a rate of 5% currently. That's the money end of it. If you flip the page, you'll see the building project part of it. The building project has 6 segments. It started, you'll see the first thing you'll see is those 6 segments of what it entails. And it started in April of 23. And we will be opening the doors to the new sanctuary in July of 2026. Save the date. I hope I make it. Like I say, I'm not young anymore. I think I will, but save the date, because that's when we're going to be opening the doors to a church that's going to be right out there, okay? Construction won't start until about May 2025, so keep that in mind. So there's going to be things done on the site, but nothing that well, we cut down the bamboo forest so we could see where we're going to put the church, but you're going to see people surveying, you're going to see people marking things, but you're not going to see any real construction activity until about May 2025. So don't get anxious, because what is happening is on November 1st of this year, we're sending the plans into the city of Raleigh called the Administrative Site Review Plans. And they're the first step in the process of permitting the building and the project. That will take time, and that will come back and go back and go back and forth. And those of you who are familiar with the city of Raleigh or have built anything in your life, you know how those things go until you get the final permit. So November 1st, that's going to happen. If you look at the progress at the building schedule bar chart that you see, which is hard to read, a little hard to read, There's going to be a bigger version of it, obviously, on the website, because this whole thing will be on the website anyway. If you look at the blue color, that's your progress bar. The one that's important is the red color in those bars. Those are critical points. If we don't meet those time frames, other things downstream get delayed. And the bar chart that you have is through the end of the year. So you can see what the building committee is going to be doing from now to the end of the year. From this point forward, if you have any questions, the Capital Campaign Committee will be manning a table in the ministry fair along with all the other ministries. And the best news is, of the day, it stopped raining. So now you can get your food at the Greek Goat without having to get wet. And realize the Greek Goat is providing a portion of the proceeds to the church for the building fund. So every dollar you spend out there, part of it's going to come to the building fund. In closing, I'm going to give you one of my favorite sayings. Some people see things as they are, and they ask why. I see things that never were, and I ask why not. Join me in this quest, and let's build the sanctuary and the Family Life Center. Thank you very much.